If you wanted magical dragons, hot waifus, and satisfying combat, you've come to the right place.
Ah yes, Shining Resonance Refrain. I played this in 2020. I actually had quite a bit of fun with this, but there were some cons and
Okay, zest! We'll get to you in a second. Wait your turn. As I was saying before I got rudely interrupted by Zach Boy. Greetings, comrades. My name is Deadwood Jawn, and we're going to review Shining Resonance Refrain. And we're going to touch upon the story, gameplay, the graphics, the soundtrack, the characters, and the post-game / replay value. I don't like long intros, so let's get to it. Now, story!
The game follows Yuma Ilvern, who holds the spirits of the Shining Dragon, an ancient dragon who died in an ancient war. At the start of the game, Yuma is held captive in Gelrut's prison with an attempted rescue mission by Sonia Blanc and Kurika Tal Alma. After a confrontation with Ixella and her 3 spears, Yuma summons the blade of the Shining Dragon, and then they manage to escape after Yuma transforms into a certain portion of the Shining Dragon. From there, they return to Marga, the capital of Astoria, which is the important town in this game. It's where everything takes place. And then he finally decides to stop being a wimp and to join the Astoria in their war against the Empire, alongside the Dragoneers.
No need to be so stiff.
Well, I can't make any promises there! So the story is a little bit annoying to read and watch at first, because it's not anything new, it's the typical JRPG story. And honestly, the protagonist is just super wimpy at the beginning, and it's a little hard to bear with. And we all remember Hope from Final Fantasy XIII.
I'll call it Operation Nora. I know getting revenge on him won't bring her back. I know that! Whose side are you on?
Additionally, some arcs are just not done as well as they could have been, such as a certain person's redemption arc. However, story does pick up soon enough thanks to some good characters, one of which is this guy.
Oh, hey, Kurika. Fancy bumping into you.
Agnem offers some dialogue at times which actually accurately reflected what I was thinking at the current time. This did help the story in its progression and the way it was told, because Agnem was there to sort of offer his one-liners and things like that. And it really added to the story for me. Even though this isn't about the characters, this is more on the story. So more on that later.
In short, story is okay. Endgame is pretty good because you can get multiple endings with different characters. Very good. Now let's move on.
Graphics!
The graphics are bright and vibrant, and the environments are done with distinct enough themes. Generally speaking, each environment's art and their style is distinct enough to capture the setting's mood, and it does so pretty well. Unfortunately, some assets clearly don't scale up to 1080p resolution, which I found quite odd. It's quite noticeable in the options menu, and it makes for some really fuzzy looking text. I mean, look, I can't bloody see! Now, I couldn't find an example here because I've been capturing gameplay after the fact for this review, but sometimes I noticed the character's model's hair clipping in odd spots during cutscenes. It seems like there was some edge detection problems from time to time. Luckily, this wasn't too frequent. Not to mention, this game also has boobs! I would have liked some flashier particle effects for moves and some higher effort assets, but it ain't awful. JRPGs can kinda get away with that stuff, and it mostly has on this one. Good job, guys.
Gameplay! There's quite a few features here, so listen up. Chomps.
One cool feature of this game is the BAND power-ups, also called band. They are songs that you can activate with various leaders at the front, which then changes its effects. It's a nice little addition for some depth in battles. You can really use them to get a little bit of an edge. The bond system was a little complicated at first, and it wasn't explained very well. You might enjoy that though. It affects resonance, which is power-ups and buffs in battle, setting each character's traits, which can be found, can trigger unique lines in-game as well as particular effects if you use them right. And you can also set a girl to... maid? Oh.
Ah. Wow, you dirty, naughty dog. Wow!
And as mentioned, the game is pretty grindy. That could make or break it for you. EXP and other drops are not very high, so you will battle a lot. I didn't mind this personally. Date and affection events show a nice bit of depth to characters, though not by a huge margin. It is a welcome feature. There's another incentive to go back to previous areas as well. Tough monsters appear and can give you something nice if you beat them up enough.
So, I bet you're wondering what the bad parts of the gameplay are, right? Because we've gone on long enough about the good stuff. Well, hold on to your balls, because we're going to get into that. Not your balls, like the gameplay stuff and the bad things and stuff like... Next, please!
Characters in battle are quite sluggish and slow to control. In the overworld, you'll start running a lot and notice the animation takes forever to stop and then start again. It's just not snappy enough. And if you're grinding for a long time too, this is not good. And my biggest complaint is the lack of a fast travel system. It takes ages to get to a faraway place. You'll be doing quests and material hunting a lot. So why isn't this a feature? Damn it, I paid good money for this and I expect a really good JRPG. Why isn't this a feature? Make this a feature now! And your characters have what's called a tuning system, which adds special bonuses to your attacks or certain elements. This is super grindy. So I didn't bother with most of them, because your character gets stronger / weaker according to the tuning equipped. I ain't got time for that.
This is where the game loses a lot of points in my opinion. Just some better design and some technical work, it would have made this game a little more enjoyable. Characters.
You know, I've spent about 5 weeks on this review and it's kind of annoying me how long it's taking. Still, I will cover some very important points here, so lend me both of your ear holes for this one. In terms of the voice actors, there's some really great effort here from some of them in particular, and these two are Agnum and Excella. They impressed me the most out of our cast. Agnum's sarcastic and witty lines are highly amusing, while Excella's emotional moments are delivered with raw energy. Also impressive. All the world's dragon voices in this game are excellent. They sound menacing, majestic, or simply powerful as hell, boy.
Alright, fine. I said I'd talk about you, so I will.
Zest is one of the antagonists in this game, and yes, he enjoys laughing his face off for whatever reason. Couple that with a few other antagonists, and it's a decent sort of story you got here. There's a few twists. Overall though, I didn't find anything interesting about good old Zesty boy over there. And generally speaking, for the antagonists, it's just okay. Now, the hero wasn't whiny and wimpy for too long. At the beginning though, he was, and I cannot stand JRPG tropes like that. I'm really glad they didn't keep him wimpy and whiny for too long. So, for this reason, the beginning is a little difficult to bear with, but it does stop becoming his thing later on. One of the heroines, Sonya, has some of the most generic, cliché warrior girl heavy lines I have ever heard. 70% of what she says is very cliché.
You want us to get on? All right.
So this was another thing that I didn't really like. Leston is one of the main characters, and his character development over time just lacked. It wasn't executed very well, and he had a lot of potential as a character, but it wasn't utilised.
I mean, what did you expect from a JRPG, right? Well, there's no reason to always expect cliché and cringe. Other games, the likes of which I can't think of right now, have managed to avoid that. Still, overall, you got some decent characters here, and some really help the others pull through. Next! Soundtrack!
And post-game / replay value, because I couldn't be bothered to put it in a separate section, okay? Every game can benefit from a fantastic soundtrack. In this game though, it's alright. It's not bad. It's fairly good actually. I just don't think many of the tracks are that memorable.
However, a few are beautifully made. Here's some that I particularly liked. Have a listen. And here's another one. And here's our third one that I want to show you.
And this is more of a gameplay thing, but shut up, alright? I can't be bothered to go back and re-edit it. The victory jingle changes as more characters become playable.
How about that? I shall be a true diva.
Now, the post-game events require you to enter secret grimoire dungeons to advance them. They're actually quite entertaining too. Some of you might find it fun to replay the game in Refrain mode, which allows you to have 2 extra characters in the game. I didn't do this though because I couldn't be bothered.
I didn't see much of a reason for a second playthrough because the story and some of the characters are quite forgettable, and when you compare it to Tales and Dragon Quest kind of games,
So, in my opinion, this is a mixed bag of fun with some fun characters, decent post-game events, and varied enough gameplay. But issues such as a lack of a great story, sluggish and heavy-feeling control, and some minor graphical oversights, it prevents this from scoring any higher than a 6.7 out of 10.
I really like this, you know. I think 6.7 out of 10 is pretty reasonable. I had a good time. Despite its shortcomings, I can't say I regret buying this or playing this through to the end. Get this on if you're curious.
And while we're at it, why not check out my Twitch page? I stream a number of days in the week, doing JRPGs, platformers, and plenty of PS1 and PS2 retro games as well. And join my Discord, where you can vote on which game you'd like me to play next as well.
That's the end of this one, folks. If you dig what I do, please follow, subscribe, like, and share. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.